Hey guys, Bowie here, and this is my ultimate multi-part guide to dewarding. This is not a one-part video since honestly dewarding is quite complex. We'll learn by example, which to me is the easiest way to learn things without creating unnecessary or simplifying concepts. We will start with this VP solo game. He's playing the Oracle, and this is a fairly common mistake. The Silencer decides to ward this area of the map at daytime. You cannot go up the stairs here without being seen at daytime. I'll give you an image of how the vision from the dire T1 tower works. Anyways, since Solo was paying attention, he walks forward and he was fast. He quickly clicks the silencer before he reaches the fog. One thing a lot of people don't know is that if you click on someone and that person goes to fog, you can still follow their inventories. You can see if they TP'd, if they warded, etc. It's clear that Silencer warded here. He even curses through the fog in a place he shouldn't have vision. In fact, Solo kills a sentry before the curse even gets used. That's how certain he was that he warded there. In this other clip, we see the Wraith King farming the dire secondary jungle, and Jakiro wants to protect that area. A lot of the times, if you feel like an area is already warded, you can help your cores more by dewarding first and warding later. There is already a sentry in these steps, so the Jakiro decided to go for this other common spot. The cliff is a common warding spot, but it's harder to get there and it's also more obvious. In fact, if you go back, this ward was placed at 12 something and only dewarded close to being expired. It wouldn't be hard for either Solo or Jakiro to actually spot it, since the Silencer was literally being chased by creeps with no HP, but no one actually paid attention. Another reason for the Jakiro to go for a sentry not in the cliff is that there was one there for quite a long time. What happened is that Silencer placed the ward first and sentry later. Since he did that, taking the sentry out would probably give away that he warded there. Instead, he leaves it in hope that Dire doesn't notice it, but they did. This is not necessarily dewarding advice, but I think it's valuable regardless. Solo has vision with this ward, which means that the only chance of warding his high ground was placed is with a smoke, and he has no reason to believe a smoke happened. He puts a sentry down to look for further wards, trying to get more map control. He finds a sentry, and you might not be able to see it, but that high ground ward is about to die. Warding in the high ground again might give Radiance the chance to take both sentry and ward, so he goes to the right and gets control over the mid lane. But we can clearly see the Radiant being very attentive. Let's watch the Radiant Silencer now and how he quickly understands that Solo warded. He quickly notices the enemy Oracle dewarding, but not only that, he clicks on him fast enough to notice later that he has one ward missing while he went to the right side of the map, and that was super quick, so there's not a lot of area he could have actually warded. If you want to get better at dewarding, constantly clicking supports and keeping tabs on the amount of wards they are carrying is key. We're going through another not necessarily dewarding advice. Radiant was not playing much on the secondary jungle part of the Dire, but he doesn't know much about what's going on the Radiant jungle. He has this ward that he wants to use, but if there's a ward revealing his inventory, then it's quite likely that he will be dewarded. He uses the sentry first and then wards away from that sentry with relatively certainty that he will not get dewarded. In this game, Dire already lost mid barracks, and Radiant controls the entire map pretty much. Jakiro spots Pudge in the top lane, but at the same time he wants to understand where the Radiant vision is. Notice how he scans Pudge's easiest route towards him in case there is a ward and he's going for a kamikaze mission there, since the ward would show Jakiro walking there. There was no ward, and obviously the play is not warding in the cliff. Radiant has more resources and control on the map. Warding such a common spot after the warding and showing would be giving it away instantly. As we already talked about, nothing stops Radiant from clicking him, and they can pinpoint the ward being used even after they lose vision of Jakiro. Using sentry wards is definitely more than just the warding too. Solo is getting up bottom with his allies, and he knows that Belgium runes are very close. Against good players, you can definitely expect at least one hero, maybe more, to be expecting the rune in their side of the map, and since they're against two heroes with Invis, setting up the sentries gives them a very important kill even with global being committed. Playing from behind is always hard on supports. Not only you need to understand that you're playing from behind, you need to expect the enemy team to be playing steps ahead from you. Look at this play. Jakiro is running away after witnessing Solo getting murdered, and they pretty much dive the Dire's base. Seconds after that, Jakiro places a sentry in a common high ground warding spot. Yes, he doesn't find anything, but in a game where you're far behind, the likelihood that a core doesn't have buyback, or that one kill where someone doesn't expect to be out of position happens and the game just ends is very, very high, so you have to commit for those sentries. After a successful high ground defense, Clinks goes towards Roshan, and notice Solo's sentry not only covers the entire Roshan pit entrance against Lina's Shadow Blade, it's also located in a great spot to cover the common warding spots in the cliff. Yeah, he commits a ward that Radiant knows 100% about, but he dewards from safety. He takes one observer down and secures the Roshan. His team now wants to push tier 1 tower. He has 5 sentries. Look how he places one just to be sure Lina cannot pick anyone off now. One sentry is way less important than losing any hero. This is a huge power spike where they have the Aegis against a bunch of dead heroes and they want to use it as best as possible. Remember the ward Solo used in the high ground to take down the Radiant ones? For some reason, the Radiant supports either forgot about it or didn't take it down knowingly. Regardless, the ward gives Clink's vision for the super important kill and the double damage shows up right after. That kill gives Jakiro the chance to understand better where's Radiant vision. Throughout this game, they rarely had the chance to go up this ramp, so he makes sure to sentry there. Seconds after that, you can see that the Silencer goes for a Hail Mary ward where he has a sentry, but he is under vision and Solo quickly sentries the area since there's absolutely no reason for a support to be leaving the base with his core dead to walk like that if not for placing a ward. This is an insanely high level fight. You can see that the Jakiro notices that Radiant is taking their vision from the jungle. As that happens, they get a glimpse of vision from Venge. Solo places a sentry expecting a fight, Jakiro ice paths blocking the easy route from Radiant, and Solo even tries to sell Fortune Zen himself, expecting the global to be cast so he doesn't need to use the Greaves to actually dispel the silence. He doesn't quite get it and they lose on their side of barracks, but they didn't lose hard enough to get Megas. Because of that, they Roche, and once again, we see how Solo makes sure to ward that spot, while also having sentries from both angles of his axis, protecting the Roche. Weaver ended up buying back to try and finish the game after that fight, and thanks to the Roshan, Dire has the upper hand and balls to go aggressive, killing the Weaver, ultimately winning the game. As you guys know, I've been trying to grind MMR, and because of that, there's not gonna be like daily content as usual. I'm trying my best to make up for it, but I cannot make any promises. I'm also casting a lot. In fact, I'm gonna be at ESL Hamburg for the close qualifiers in the Join Dota League studio, so that's awesome. And that is fruit of me working on casting, just networking, and I mean, it's very hard to do that if I'm making videos daily. Still, I'm trying to make the best videos possible. Hopefully you guys like this one, and remember, if you want to support those videos, make sure to follow me on Twitter, make sure to watch my stream and subscribe if you like it. And if you want to keep tabs with me and know what's going on in Berlin when I go to join Dota League, follow me on Instagram. There's going to be pictures and stuff, so that's cool. Yeah guys, bye.